Hey, welcome to our exciting Thanksgiving Eve YOML episode. I think today we're on 163. Am I correct,
That's
Chris?
that's correct. Yeah, I can't believe
Okay.
actually. That's crazy. I can't believe we're on 163. Actually, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is wild. I mean, we had a lot of fun, and there's plenty more to come.
For sure.
So today we want to talk about, the timekeeper.
Yeah.
So I'll let Chris introduce the book and let you in on his reflection, and we can talk about it.
Yeah. Well, since it's Thanksgiving Eve, I do have a glass of wine. It's the official drinking holiday of
Okay.
America. So we're doing this
Unfortunately,
one.
I can't
Yeah.
drink it.
I know. Yeah, I know
No,
you're not a drinker, but I
but
was
I can't
actually.
drink it. Not
Yeah.
even if I wanted to. I can't. I can't do it physically. I can't do it.
Yeah, no bueno, right?
Uh,
I was actually ironically I was talking to a couple of my Canadian colleagues today. We were just
mhm.
having like a meeting about some stuff, and they actually do have a Canadian Thanksgiving. I didn't even know this, and it's in October. And they got that day
Mhm.
off for the company I work for in October. And I was like, we were meeting today. They were just meeting like as a normal day, and I'm like guys, it's like 3:30 on the day before Thanksgiving. I was like, I don't really.
Where
Can
you
we just,
going,
can we just
Chris?
yeah, I was like, can we just wrap this shit up and like, I mean, this is a holiday. This is like the day before the holiday, and they're like, oh, I forgot about American Thanksgiving, and I was like, what do you guys even celebrate? Anyway, I don't want to go down to the whole conversation, but I ended up explaining to them because they didn't really understand like what American Thanksgiving was all about. And I was like, look, here's how it goes. The day before Thanksgiving is like the biggest drinking holiday of the year. All the kids come home from college and they all go, they haven't seen each other for a long time and you're coming back to your hometown. So you go out to the bars and, it's like a big festival, big party, and
Right.
they're like, oh, that's interesting. They're like, I never thought about that. And I was like, yeah. And then Thursday, we just eat ourselves into a coma all day long.
It's just
like
just food and
food,
football. I mean, that's
food,
what
food
the
and
American
football. Yeah.
Thanksgiving is.
Yeah. And then Friday, we shop all day. So it's booze, a lot of eating and football and then shopping, and then
Yes.
Saturday and Sunday we
So you
recover and
have
go
the
back to
booze
bed.
coma, the food coma, and
Yeah.
the shopping to the drop coma.
We do it all to excess the next 3 days, and
I
that's
mean, I
America in a
think if
nutshell.
you look at it, most of the retailers make most of their yearly revenue
Oh yeah,
Thanksgiving, right?
yeah.
It's out actually even more than Christmas.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
way more because I mean, who's buying Christmas presents after Christmas? I mean, it's like, why would you do that? Like, I mean, what the whole point is to buy
Yes,
after
yeah. So they
after
buy
Thanksgiving,
Black Friday,
right?
and then it's Cyber Monday. It's starting with since with the advent of the internet, Cyber
Yeah,
Monday starting becoming big as well. And so I mean, these are like they make the whole year revenue by
for
this
sure.
month.
What's funny is I was getting emails these days. These days I get like emails 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, like Black Friday sales on now. like it's so dumb. Like it's just, I mean, it's funny. Like it's like it's like a 3 week shopping holiday. Actually,
No, it's a
basically it
three
goes through
months.
Christmas. Yeah, exactly. It goes through
Three
Christmas now.
months.
It's bizarre. But actually, it's funny. The Canadian colleagues of mine were like, uh, uh, we actually do Black Friday, and I was like, well, how do you guys do Black Friday? Like, they're like, well, like all the people down in the States, like they would offer all these discounts, and a lot of people started buying products from like, companies or American companies, so like Canadian companies,
Mhm.
so like they had to compete. Now they do Black Friday, and I'm like that. The only reason we do Black Friday is because of Thanksgiving, and it's like, you have the day off, and they're like, yeah, I know, I
Right.
get it, but like we do it, like, and I'm like, that's really
Yeah,
weird.
they need to move
Yeah.
their Thanksgiving.
I know, right? Just move it back to November if you're gonna. I'm
I
Canadians,
don't
right?
know.
Yeah. Anyway, so on to I digress. On to the reflection for the day. So this book is the Timekeeper by Mitch Albom. So if you remember Mitch Albom, he was the one that wrote Tuesdays with Morrie, right? And
Hmm.
um, I really love that Tuesdays with Morrie book a lot, and that's one of my that's probably one of my top 25 favorite books that I've read on this journey so far. And I figured, Mitch, I'll give him a shot again. So he's a great Tuesdays with Morrie was a like a nonfiction book, but this one was one of his fiction books that he wrote, and it was about Father Time. Basically, he was the guy that first invented the world's first clock, and he got punished by God, and he got banished to this cave for centuries, to forced to listen to all the voices who would come and ask him, seeking more days and more years, and he's just stuck in his cave. And finally he was granted his freedom at one point in time, and then he ended up encountering this girl who is like a teenage young girl who wants to end her life, and then he meets this guy whose name is Victor, who's like a businessman that wants to live forever kind of thing, and he is trying to teach them the value of time and to help save himself. I don't know that I love the story that much, to be honest with you. It was interesting. It made me think a little bit, but like and what it made me think about was values are how I keep track of my time these days, is the reflection title. So I started off this reflection just talking about time today, right? Like it's a pretty ingenious invention for humanity. I don't know if you remember this, but back in Sapiens, when it talked about like how time was first originally, modern day time was first originally invented because of train travel in England. They couldn't figure out like when people would get from town to town at the right time to be able to start the factories and operate production. So like that was why time and like Greenwich Mean Time developed and in England, because like they had to be able to like say, hey, we need you all here at this factory at this time. So people were coming in from that was like the first time in really human history where people had to like coordinate themselves via time to be able to certain place at a certain time kind of thing, to be able to produce the means of society, and the production of society and all that other stuff. So like it's as you know, I'm not teaching anything new here, but like the modern time these days, there's time gurus, there's productivity gurus, there's time management gurus, there's we wake up every single day with our alarm clock from our cell phone, and then we immediately jump out of bed and smash some food real fast, get the kids ready for work, get everybody out of the door, get them off to daycare, get them back home, meeting, eat some food, meeting, pick up the kids, get back home, smash a little bit more food, get them all to bed, and then maybe watch a little bit of television, and then do it all over again, right? Like everything is run off of time, like it's I mean, we are time like machines, like I mean we like I mean and for me personally,
well, now I think we're not time machines, we're time slaves.
Time slaves, yes. No, that's a better way to say it. And for me, I used to before Amelia, like my favorite thing to do, and I've told you about this before in the past, my favorite thing to do was like checking to-do lists off my time, like to be like a really productive. I there was no better feeling than to just run through a million tasks in a day, and then at the end of the day sit back, have a glass of wine, and watch some TV or something like that, and go, man, that felt good. I got a lot accomplished today, and the truth is I didn't. I did get a lot of stuff accomplished, but it was really all over the place, and then for me personally, like everything changed for me, as we've talked about a million times in this, in our conversations and through this journey together for YOML. When Amelia was born, right? Like, I mean, literally time stopped for me. I mean, everything that I cared about, the checking to-do lists and getting stuff done, and time management and personal time management and all the random shit you do in the course of a day, and just checking more and more boxes. Like it just literally stopped. And the only thing I cared about was spending time with Amelia and her life. And she taught me so much about the value of time in general, right? Like, I mean, I saw her every single day just embrace everything that it was to be a human, and really saw for the first time in my life like what the value of time really was, right? And that was just being a human and understanding the incredible range that of the human condition, and the beauty of it and the tragedy of it, and showed me what a life was really about and how you're supposed to live. So when we lost her, I've talked to you about this a lot as well in the past, but like no joke, time just stopped. I mean, I don't know that I even cared at all if anybody else in this world existed, or if any other thing that I had to do existed, or where I had to be even exist. I didn't care. I didn't look at my schedule. I didn't do anything. I didn't give a shit at all. Like at all that stuff that felt so important, and that was like my entire sense of being, really, to be honest with you, before Amelia, like it just evaporated into thin air. So luckily for me, Amelia showed me a different path of living, and that was guided by values and how to be a human versus, you know, a clock in general. And every day since I've lost her, like that's, you know, obviously you've been a big part of that. You know, that's what I try to do, is try to do my best to follow in her footsteps, and values is how I measure my days each day, and not time anymore, you know, and it feels really fulfilling. And you know, I know that if I look back at the end of the day, when I leave this world, like all have been very, very happy, knowing that's kind of my, you know, the Viktor Frankl question, like you're you know, you see yourself as like an old person, like 90 years old or something like that, and you're looking back in your life, like that is how I measure my effectiveness in my life, is did I know who I was, and did I do those things every single day? And I don't really give a shit about, you know, time anymore at this point in time. I could be gone tomorrow, and I don't care. I know that if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing every single day, that I'll be happy, and I am. So yeah, that was a reflection. That was what this book made me think about. Question was, is how do you measure the impact of your time in this world? And yeah, love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, so for me, I think, you know, time is a man-made construct, right?
100%.
And so it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't apply to you as much, because for me, is, you know, I see everybody is on a hamster wheel, and it makes me think that the hamster wheel is even not their hamster wheel. It is society's hamster wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think about it, you go on a hamster wheel, you, for each of those little ring on a hamster wheel, right? It represents a mark in an interval, like it's a milestone. You think about a milestone, a mile marker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like whatever your life is, there is a marker that is supposed to be your track of uh, your track of your path, right? So time is nothing more than a construct to mark the path for which we need to go. Which, like for most of us, we are on this hamster wheel, and the hamster wheel is not even our hamster wheel; it's actually society's hamster wheel,
Right.
because you have to get up at 6:30. You have to get your kids out at, you know, at the school at 7:15, right?
Yeah, why?
That's not your hamster wheel.
I
That's
know, right?
the society hamster wheel. You go to a meeting, people set up a meeting, right, at a certain time and say, hey, you know, I invite Chris. Chris gotta go to attend this meeting, and then after that, lunchtime, people open at a certain time, people close at a certain time. This is a hamster wheel, right? So for me, time is nothing more than you are this the hamster in a hamster wheel that goes nowhere. It just goes circle and circles. The thing is, time is a man-made construct. There's no such thing as time. There are such thing as like cycles. Like the sun has a cycles. You have a cycles. There are cycles, but each cycles are different. Like moon cycle is different from the sun cycle. Your seasonal cycle, right? It's going to be different than many other cycles. So you also have your own cycles. Those are your time.
Yeah.
So your cycle can say, well, I am on this learning curve cycle, right? I mean, you are, sometimes you go on to learning cycle, meaning sometimes you learn and then you go on a loop and then you stop because, hey, you're done, right?
Yeah.
And so I think from the quote unquote time perspective, you need to create your own time, which is what is the next piece of milestone or next piece of marker that you want to achieve. Like, hey, I want to achieve, you know, to be, you know, completely peaceful at, you know, in a year. I want to have a book. I want to have a podcast. So those markers should be your timeline.
Right.
Cycle, your cycle markers, right? Because I think time is like a construct to kind of get everybody to be in sync, like you say
It's to organize society. I mean,
and to organize people to come into
that was why
factory
the trains
to work at the same time, because
right.
you know, but at the same time, you know, it's a pros and cons, right? Because the pros is that you get everybody on the same wheel, same hamster wheel, but then it is not your hamster wheel, it's someone else's hamster wheel, and you're running it and you're enslaved to it. And so time is important if you want to interact with people, but at the same time, you need to experience your own cycles of whatever it is you want to do. For me, is I don't like to be in somebody else's timeline. And the reason for that is so go back to one of my favorite quote is, we don't work for train, right? You don't work for train, I don't work for train. This is what I mean by when time, you don't want to go on that hamster wheel, because the train goes a certain, it stops at a certain time, right? I don't catch it, I'm not gonna run for it, right? Because I have my own time. I don't want to go and meet somebody, because if I have something else I want to do, right? So, and if somebody wants to meet with me, well, they're gonna have to wait until the next cycle. I'm not going to change my schedule to do that, and that have made me a more peaceful person than I had before. I've been less stressful because of that. So we need to take control of these mile markers that we have in our life, and that should represent our time. And I really like the way that you put that together in terms of saying your values, or your timekeeper, right? Right. So your values, how you
It's all
keep
I
your
really
time
care
these
about.
days.
Yeah, it's all I really care
So
about.
it isn't the time, because the thing is, when we think about the time, um, it it referenced that somebody else's hamster wheel, not yours. So that's why when you take your values and you say, well, I want to achieve this value, that value, the other value, the other value. You are controlling your own time, and you controlling your own path, and you mark the tick, right? Each tick on a time is made specifically for you, or is made nonsensible by everybody has a tick, right?
Right.
There's number of ticks in the cycles, and every single time has a number of ticks, which is number of seconds, right? And so that's the thing is, we for whatever reason have been more drone like, or more like the bee, like you have this massive, like the identity crisis that we have today. It's just everybody is doing something that's universal,
Right.
and everybody don't want to be universal. They want to be separate, and so that causes a lot of depression. It causes a lot of dreadful feelings, and hated towards societies, and all these things. I mean, that's why when
A
we
lot of
talk
train
about
running.
I mean, it's running out of the train, and then they can't catch it, and then they get exhausted, and then other things happen.
Or they're
It's
anxious about waiting for
derails.
the next train, or they're
It's just
why
spiral
I'm
out of
on.
control.
Yeah,
And
right.
and the thing is, the world has come to shit. For the lack of a better word, it has come to shit. And if you ask people, do you think the human race will exist, in 100 years? And no, we become extinct. Majority of people are gonna have that sentiment. It's
Right.
because, I mean, the thing is, it goes against our nature of in the what we see in humankind, the book Humankind, right? And so we see the opposite of it, because we are being forced to be something we're not. So go back to what we were saying before, is it's still along the same theme as what we talk about for company, is you have to become more individual to enjoy your specific um your specific character trait,
Right.
because you were born a certain way. Like I say, beaver must dam. You can't try to be someone else. Same thing with a beaver has his own cycle, so you can't follow another person's cycle, another animal's cycle.
Right.
And for us, we also have a different cycle. We some people go faster than others. Some people like a slower pace. But for us to be all on the same pace, we have to get on the same time. So you and I have to be at a certain meeting at a certain time. So your
To
cycles,
exchange values, like that, but not because we need to be there at a certain time, but to exchange values. Like that is why we get together every single night. Like that is 100% why we get together every single night. And that is the fourth generation or the seventh generation committee meeting. Like that is the point of
right? But
this.
the
It's
thing is,
like,
I think your cycles and my cycles are different, because
right.
for me, it's I like it slow, meaning like for the most, like in one day, I probably want to accomplish only one thing. You probably want to do 5 things and check them out. I say, well,
Yes.
I get to it when I get to it. So You know what I mean? So
Right.
even though there's time in society and there's hamster wheel, and I do recognize it, and I can jump on when I want to jump on, but I'm saying is we need to recognize that we have our own wheels, and we need to jump off the society's wheel whenever we need to.
Right.
So
I agree. Yeah.
like I say, if say you have a tennis match, or you have a Monday night football ticket, right? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's no big
Right.
deal, right? I'm not gonna say, oh man, I have to do this. How can I make this work? Let me do something. I'm not gonna say, well, if it doesn't work, then we just say, hey, let's see what happens. I
Right.
don't really want to spend my effort and think about how I can shift my schedule or your schedule to accomplish something. If you say, well, I have a Monday night ticket to go to see a football game, well, just go, right? Just go, and there's
Right.
no I'm not gonna be sad, and because that's a way that my cycle is, right? I'm not running for train, so I understand that things gonna happen, and I'm not expecting you to be here every single night. And so that's the thing, is when you understand that you have your own wheels, right? And then you know that, hey, other person has their own wheels as well. All you have to do is coordinate to when all those wheels meet, like, or have this overlap. Then you meet up and you exchange value. But in recognizing that you go on your own cycles, you read at a certain speed that you're comfortable. If you read at a fast speed, then enjoy a fast speed. If you read at a slow speed, enjoy a slow speed. So you know what I mean? So like
Right.
I say, hey, a lot of people, like for me, like I say, I like the fast speed in the audible. Most people like the slow speed.
Right.
For me, I like a slow pace in life versus a fast pace in life, right? Because you look at, for example, like, let's say you wanna invest in stocks, right? You wanna win, you wanna make money right away. Want to make money in an hour, right? I don't say, well, I'll make money in a month, right? My cycles, my expectations are different.
Right.
Then other people, hey, I'm a day trader. I want to make money like in the next 15 minutes and get out and try some more. And so they are on a fast speed, right? They are really fast. Versus me, I like the Mexican fisherman. I want to go out,
Yeah.
fish for a little bit, for a couple hours, come back with a few fish, take one home and sell three, or give it away, whatever. And then,
Right.
the next, spend the rest of my time
You'll
just
you'll
walking
get to
around
where
the
you want
neighborhood.
to. You'll get to where you're going when you get there. Like, and
Exactly. I get there
that's
when I
fine.
get
Like,
there.
yeah. I mean, and
And
that's
so,
totally fine. You should do exactly that. That's how life should work. Like, I mean, you should be doing the stuff that you want to do because it matters to you, and get to where you're going when you get there when you're going. Like, it's wherever you go, there you are. But that's a book that we'll talk about in the future.
mhm.
It's okay to, like, not be on this
It's
go
not
go
only
go.
okay, it's
It's
just the best way.
right.
Because you think about it, like I said before, you want to go on vacation, right? You say, well, I gotta pack up, hurry up and pack, and hurry up, get on the plane. Airplane, hurry up and take off, right?
Yeah,
And
airport
then,
travel's worse.
and then,
You
and
make
then
me,
say,
like,
hurry up
have
and
a panic
land.
attack just thinking about airport travel. Oh God, I hate it like so much. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, and you gotta hurry up and do everything. Say,
I
hurry up and
know.
fly, hurry up and get. So airplane lands, so hurry up and land the plane. Hurry up and open the door so you can get out.
Right,
Okay, you hurry up to get in, then you hurry up to get out, and then you hurry up to do your vacation, then you hurry up to go home.
right,
So it's not like the destination is where you want to be. You
right.
just want to move. You want to be in where you are not, right? So that's
Yeah,
the thing, is your cycles are complete. I mean, these are cycles, right? Because it's not like you say, well, I love the beach and I go on there and I stay there, right? People say, well, I love the beach, so I'm taking my vacation. So they hurry up and pack, stress to pack all this stuff, hurry up and go to the airport, go stress out of the airport, go on airplane, and fit at the time say, hurry up, anxiety, and say, hey, I need a plane to take up. Why it takes so long? Why's the delay? What the hell, right? And then the
yeah,
plane takes off, and then when are we landing? Let's
right,
go land. And then when the land comes in, say, okay, why are we opening the door? Why can't I get out? Why is delay?
oh yeah,
What's the pilot trying to do? And then when you get out, I say, where's my luggage? Why is my luggage take so long? So that's the thing, is it's a cycle. And then what you do? You go home and then you say, hurry up, unpack, and then hurry up, go back to work. It's always hurry, hurry, hurry. And this is
right,
like the cycles of society. It tells you have to do these things. But that you notice that you went on this vacation, but not really vacation because you're anxious all the way through.
It's more stressful like than it is. I mean, I always get sick when I go, especially for work travel. Like I always get sick whenever I travel for work because it's like I'm so on somebody else's time. Like I got to wake up earlier. I got to get to some conference that we're going to or some customer meeting that's at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like, normally I'm writing at that point in time in my comfy in my hoodie in my office right now, and and I'm reflecting, and then I go on a workout or whatever. Like now when I still do all this stuff when I travel, but then I just got to get up at like 5 a.m. and get it all done before I get to this place, and then all day long sitting in the conference room staring at a screen going, when the fuck are we going to get out of here? Because next person's coming in, the next person's coming in, next person, it's just like, oh my God, like nobody wants to be there. Nobody wants to do this stuff. Like, I mean, it's just so, it's so, it reminds me of the book, When Breath Becomes Air, the reflection from that. Focus on your values. That guy spent his whole entire life trying to be a doctor. He ground himself into the floor trying to be the resident and to because in the future he'll be able to do XYZ. That was he wrote about this a lot. Like, hey, I'm okay with working 18-hour shifts and never sleeping and never taking a vacation and doing all this stuff because like someday I'll be able to be a full on whatever the positions are at whatever hospital that he wants to be at because it'll all be worth it. And then someday he didn't. He ended up
just one day it happened, right?
Atomic bomb hits, right? And you're like, well, shit, what do I want to do? Like, I mean, what's a fulfilling life? Like, and it wasn't that he didn't like helping people. It was just that he, his doctor was like, focus on your values. Like that's, if you want to if you want to really make your time, maximize your time, you have, which is not long, whether or not you think 100 years is long or
it's not
long.
like I say, it's long. Not the time, because the thing is the time, if you are on somebody else's milestone or timeline, it is not yours, so you can't count them. So if you think about your memories, right, your memories only count to the time or the event that means something to you, whether it's your wedding day, your high school, whatever, some special event that it resonate with what you value. This is why I like what you say in terms of your value is how you track your time, because your value is what you remember, because everything else you do is somebody else's timeline. And when you are on somebody else's timeline, it's like you're on a treadmill that is running faster than you're supposed to, or slower than your pace, right? It's not just like if I run at like 3 on a treadmill, they have these numbers like 3 whatever, like 3.0. I don't know what it is, but people go at 5, right? Imagine me, my pace is 3, and I jump onto somebody else's treadmill and go to 5. I'm physically exhausted, right? So trying to catch up with people at the meetings and, hey, I gotta get at 6 a.m. to do whatever, when my normal wake up hours is going to be like 7, 8, or 9, right? So for me to get up at 5 a.m. is like trying to catch the train. It's trying to speed up my own timeline to coincide with the timeline society. And to me, that is something I'm trying to jump off of the timeline. I don't want to be on somebody else's timeline. I don't want to feel the anxious, because I've done it before in my younger years. I mean, I've run a business and I've done it before. I don't like it at all. I don't like that. But it doesn't have to be that way. That's what I'm saying is
it doesn't.
You can determine your own time and say, well, if you take up the philosophy of, I don't run for train, it actually helps you. Because if you ask me to say, hey, can I make this time? I will be honest with you. If I can, I will say yes. If I can't, and I won't. And I'm not going to inconvenience myself so that I can, I don't know, impress somebody or whatever. I don't do that anymore. And it creates a whole lot more stable mental state.
Well, it's integrity, right? It's being true to yourself and understanding what you care about and what you don't, and staying true to that. Like you make such a good point about when you're doing behaviors and actions that align to your values, that's what you remember in your life. Like when I think back to like even like high school, the only things I remember from high school are tennis, you know, and like my tennis team, and things and the times that we spent together in training and or like stuff that we did together. And I was on other teams. Like I just didn't really care about those other things. I only did them for, you know, just to stay active or whatever, like, you know, and it was just a chore. I think about this class theater productions that I was in. I don't know why I really enjoyed it, but like I wasn't a
I mean,
theater person, you know.
you beavering
I
by
was beavering, yeah,
accident,
yeah,
right?
like
But because
yeah,
but that's the thing is you have to understand your memory is actually your timeline because you ask you, you know, tell me about your life from the beginning to now.
right.
That is your timeline. If you don't remember for like the 5 year span, I mean in 5 year
You
span,
were
you are
living
on
somebody else's
somebody
time.
else's
Yeah, yeah, right.
timeline,
You're right. You're right.
right? You're not
Yeah,
on your own
100%.
timeline.
In college, what I remember is my fraternity. You know,
Hmm.
spending time with my meaningful relationships there and having fun. I remember my wife and spending time with her and meeting her and I remember Econ 368. You know, that we've
Hmm.
talked about multiple times. You know, the
Right.
philosophy of economics. I remember you know, the business classes where I got to do case studies and or study case studies and really kind of, you know, really chop those things up. Those were always meaningful for me. I remember
Hmm.
like art appreciation, like that was, I don't know why, for some weird reason, like that class, like I remember wine tasting, you know, because we had a class, it was wine appreciation was this class I took. That was one of my favorite classes. So like these are the things that I remember. This is the only, and it's not surprising that these are the things that
Because
I
it's
still care
you.
about today, right? Yeah, exactly. I
Remember,
remember
you remember
intramural
because it's
sports.
you, right?
Yeah, right.
You
Yeah,
know,
right.
Because you know that's what I'm saying. If you're doing things that is who you are, you're gonna remember, and that's your timeline. And so
Yeah,
imagine you doing somebody else's timeline. They stole time away from you.
they
Your
did.
time actually collapses when you're doing things that doesn't align with your values.
100%. I mean, it actually infuriates me thinking about it. I've never I've ever since Amelia and ever since this journey, like I've never owned my own time as much as I own it now, and I've never
Same
been
here. Same here.
happy
Like I
with,
say,
you know,
I
yeah.
recognize that
Yeah.
because in the beginning, I'm following somebody else's timeline,
Mhm.
and I don't remember much just
Right.
because that's not who I am, and I don't want. I mean, my brain suppresses those memories.
It is. I mean, it sucks. It's just boring. Like, I mean, my favorite work memories were ones where I was on projects where I just got to create and I got to be innovative and I got to go
Hmm.
explore and learn and build new projects. Those are the projects that I think about all the time and they're the most engaging and meaningful. And then the times when I got to lead people. Like
Hmm.
those are always the times. I don't remember a single big deal that I've ever closed in my life. I don't remember a single quarter or month or whatever where I just was like top of the charts. And I know it happened all the time. I don't even remember the rewards that I got. Like I don't remember any of that. Like I mean, I'm not
Hmm.
even being stupid about it. Like because it didn't matter to me. It never mattered to me. What always mattered to me was like the people that I was around, helping to lead other people, coach other people, and help them to succeed. And then you know the sports that I play on the outside of the world, you know, like the tennis life or whatever, like and in terms of work, when I was given a problem and people were like, just go do you. And I'm like, great. Like I got to go learn so much. I would learn rapidly on my own all day long. And I would be like, hey, I learned this. Like, this is what we should try this and this path. What do you think? Great, do it. Okay, now I did it. I learned this, and now we should try this path. And I went and I learned to this other stuff. And great, go do it. Like it was always me living my values. And like those are the jobs that I remember that I loved the most. And those are the activities I remember in those jobs. But when I was in jobs that I hated, like just absolutely hated, I don't remember a fucking thing from my entire time at Salesforce. Honestly, like I don't remember an entire like beyond like you know just the people that I worked with that were always great. Like I don't remember a
Hmm.
single fucking thing that I did that I found value in at all ever. Like
Right.
not once. And like that just sucks. Like you know, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you don't remember because that's not yours. It's not your event. It's not your
right,
milestone. It's not your tick mark, right? Just so you know, how time has every tick, right? It is universally, it's every tick represents a milestone for everybody,
right.
and that's how we synchronize our, I guess, the point in time, the point in the cycles. Like I said, you are trying to overlap a certain markers to meet up as an encounter. So me meeting you is an encounter, an event, right? And it's always an event because it's always it's going to overlap each one of our quote unquote timeline or cycles, whatever your life cycle is. My life cycle be different than your life cycle.
For sure.
And my memory timeline is going to be different than your memory timeline.
For sure.
And if you don't remember it, it's not yours.
I agree.
Because it wasn't, you're not beavering, you're doing, foxing or
you're foxing as a beaver. Yeah, you're owling or no, you're totally right. Like I will never forget like these conversations with you, no matter how old I am. Like I mean, or how how much, if we never even talk to each other ever again, if I'm 90 years old, like I'll never forget, like, we went through 163 episodes. If this is the last time that you and I ever talked, I'd be like, man, Drew and I, we spent 163 nights together, where we talked about our thoughts and, cared about the same stuff that we cared about, like, and spent that time together. And like, I won't ever forget that, like, I mean, and I'll always feel fulfilled, right? Like, cause this is a fulfilling, you told me right before this conversation, like, I just look forward to an hour of chatting at the end of the day about, about this kind of stuff, right? Like, I mean, it matters, yeah.
It does. I mean, it's just like, when I went through the core values quest and I was the mentor for Amber, right? The things we talk about, I remember, just because it resonated with me, because I'm telling her what I feel. I'm telling her what I think. And those conversations, it's still vivid. But other conversation, even like 2 days ago with somebody else, I have no clue. I don't even remember.
You're so right,
what time, when, who, whatever, right? But I remember the conversation that matters to me. Whatever the topic was, it matters to me. I remember those. And I remember those without even having to struggle to recall it. It's just there, right? It's easily accessible. And so for me, it's having the time, and especially having a time that is actually joyful to you because it is who you are, it resonates with your faculties, then that time seems joyous. It not seems dreadful because whatever the case. Because the thing is, you think about it, what you do and what I do are different, but what I enjoy and what you enjoy are different, right?
Yeah.
So for me to sit down and program and get something to work like artificially, digitally, right? It makes my day. But for you, you have to talk to somebody. It makes your day. So the thing is, that's what I'm saying, is because my faculty is to internalize a lot of these simulations. That's what brings me the joyful memories. You talking to people brings you the joyful memory. For me, talking to people may not even bring joyful memory. Maybe even bring anxiety, right? You think about it, like a programmer, they don't like to talk. They don't like to be on camera. A lot of times, like most people that goes onto these project meeting, right? They're not on camera.
Yeah. Well, because not in my world, but yeah, I know what you mean. Because every company that you talk to is different, and it's always funny when you talk to the companies that are never on camera, and you're talking to like technical people that are never on camera.
Yeah,
like,
technical people don't like to be on camera.
It's like weird. Like it's like, guys,
they don't enjoy it. They don't enjoy it, and so those memory, they're either going to suppress, or it's going to have a negative memory, right? Versus the memory that, because you and I enjoy the memory of things that we do that is bring us joy. I mean, bring us joy meaning, because like I say, the joy has nothing to do with whether you do this or that or other. It's whether what you did is a reflection of you. If I'm a programmer, what I did is reflection of me as a programmer. Exactly. Therefore, I enjoy it. But if you do the same thing I did, that, hey, Chris, I enjoy programming, right? I think you would too. That's not going to be the case, because you're going to sit down and you're going to say, what the hell is this? Right? You're looking at the symbols all day long.
I mean, I would go.
How is this joyful to you? You must be crazy.
It would drive me nuts. It'd be like looking at like contract law, like in redlining shit all day long, and like I would. Like that's just not the way my brain works, and I don't want that to be the way my brain works. So like,
and that's my point, is like, you
I can do it, but I don't want to, like that's the point. It's like anybody can do it,
I mean, like when I went to college, right, I wrote an essay, right, and I won a scholarship. It took me a whole 3 months to write the essay, but I wrote it.
Right.
Somebody else can write it in freaking 30 minutes.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right.
It's not
Yep.
that you can or cannot. It's whether your faculty allows you to do things swiftly, easily, and smoothly.
Yep.
And
I
that's my
agree.
point. Is like I told you yesterday. Yesterday, I told you, like, as a programmer, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to do anything. I literally did not study, and I'm so good at it because it just comes natural. Just like you have, it's like I said, I'm not good at programming because I made myself good. I'm good because I was given a gift.
Right.
People are given a height, weight, physical ability, speed, a voice to sing, a nice face, whatever. Those are gifts. You don't make yourself into those, right? But for me, as a programmer, is I just like programming. I just dabble in it. I just feels like I feel like I could do it, and it's so easy. Where I program on a calculator. I'm
Right.
using calculator to make a program. I mean, the calculator is beyond its functionality,
Right.
right? It's to do calculations, but I use a calculator to program,
Right.
right? The TI-85, TI-82,
Yeah.
those are
I
my
hated
thing,
those
right?
stupid things. They drive me nuts. Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah. No, they drove me nuts. Like anytime that I had to go use those things, I was like, I hated it. I hate all things about like the stuff that you like, which is okay. Like, because you hate all the things about the stuff that I like, but then there's the
But
the
the point is,
commonalities is how
you
we can
have
connect.
your
Yeah.
faculties that allows you to like the things, right?
Right.
So that means that you can't really be choosing something that you are not. You cannot be like I mean, I'm probably beat this dead the horse to
Beaver.
this
You beat
thing
the
to
beaver to death.
beaver, yeah, beat to death. But the beaver must dam, right?
Right.
You just don't want to be the, hey, I need to go and become a mound builder like the the termites or whatever. I don't know,
Right.
but you don't want to be non-beaver if you're a beaver.
I
So
agree.
I mean, the theme continues in every single discussion. Is you have to find out who you are good at, and you're gonna enjoy your life because of it. Because you don't say because, hey, this thing that I did, it's fun, it's joyful. It's gonna be joyful for you. And I know for a fact that it is not, because I know people are gonna hate
Yeah. Time.
doing what
I
I
mean,
do, and I know for a fact that I really hate some of the stuff that you do, because I'm not very good at it. I don't have the faculty to do that, right? For me to think on my feet, for me to find the right words is not something I can do easily. But for
right.
you, swim a circle around me all day long on these words or whatever you want to talk about, you can, and you can do that all day long. For me, I can program all day long. You
Right.
probably do it for 15 minutes. You can say, this sucks.
I would hate it. No, I mean, like I about had a meltdown 15 minutes ago, or 2 hours ago, when I was trying to do this HR training around like harassment or something like that. It was like this video that I couldn't go fast through, and like I was like, I had to watch it. And I was like, this is my nightmare. Like, I mean, I don't. It's not that I didn't care. I thought the user interface was pretty slick, and I thought the videos were actually pretty nice. But I was like, this, like, I mean, I can't. I don't want to do this, and I don't care. Like, I mean, I'm not like. I just don't care. So like, therefore, I'm just being forced to do something for somebody else to check somebody else's box, and like,
Yes,
and
somebody else timeline. It's
shit
never
just
fun.
drives me nuts. I wasted an hour of my life, and I will never remember it ever again. Like, what a fucking waste. And like, I mean, you're so spot on with like what we've been talking about, especially around, and that's why I love these conversations, because it helps me to further refine the thought in my own mind as I like talk to you, and then we discuss this stuff. But it's the monotony collapses time, and novelty unfolds it, right? Like, when you're doing shit that you like, it's like always new, and there's always something new you want to go explore, and there's always a new path you want to go take. And it feels like just time goes for forever, right? Like, I feel like you and I have been talking for forever. But we've really only known each other for 2.5 years at this point in time. And I feel like your magical learning has been going on since I was 20 years old, but it's really only been 2.5 years. You know what I mean? Like,
because the cycle between when we first start to now, there's so many ticks in between.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And say,
I mean, there's so much.
That's a lot of time. Or you have
so
to, from the beginning to end, you have one tick. Well,
right.
That's not. Hey, what do you remember? Well, I just remember this one thing. It's something.
Yeah, you're right.
Crazy happened that day.
like 7th grade, I don't remember what happened in 7th grade other than maybe a couple of my friends and I got in trouble doing some stupid shit or something like that, like, or I wrote the dress code, or something, you know what I mean? Like 35 times, like I told you the other night. Like, I don't really remember anything that happened. So 7th grade to me is just like, well,
Yeah,
basically
you
K
don't
through 8
exist.
well, I just went through K through 8. I made some really good friends and we did some fun stuff together. We went to like Halloween stuff and some parties, like, but I don't remember anything from it, really. I mean, to be honest with you, other than like the friends that I met and the people that we connected on other stuff and the sports that I played outside of that, the stuff that I actually really like to do. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. You're right. It's novelty unfolds time, like, and
But
it feels
that
like it
so
goes on
so
forever.
so I want to make sure we understand that, because novelty unfolds time, but novelty only comes from you beavering.
Yes.
What that means is that when you're beavering, you are aligning yourself to your core values. This is important because in your reflection, right? This is how you track. This is how you keep track of your time, is by values.
Yeah.
Like I say, it only unfolds for you because that's your value, and that's why I keep saying is what I value is not your value,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
I love to program. You hated it. You love to talk. I hate to talk, right?
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That is the fundamental piece of ingredient we have to get right. Because if you are understanding what I'm saying is, you are a beaver, then you must do the beavering.
Right.
You cannot be foxing. You cannot do woofing, and you cannot do, bearing, or whatever, whatever animal you think you are.
Right.
Uh, right? So it unfolds time because not because of novelty. It's only because I guarantee you, if you are as creative as Chris, okay, you do what I do, it collapses time because it's going, your brain's gonna shut down. It's not a novelty for you, but it's actually a novelty for me.
Right.
So that means that each one of us has our own core values, and only core values can unlock that novelty. And then
Agreed.
novelty is what unfolds time.
Agreed.
The
Agreed.
opposite way actually collapses it, because I've
Agreed.
taken public speaking before, and I don't remember anything.
Accounting, management 201 and management 200 at Purdue, in my business management degree. Like,
You remember anything in chemistry?
no, I didn't have to take chemistry. Thank God, because I would have it was literally a check the box activity. I mean, I'm not even joking. It was like, I just need to survive through this. Like, I will do the absolute bare minimum that I can possibly do to get the check mark box, because I do not give a shit about managerial accounting or statistical business accounting. Like, I just don't care. Like, I don't fucking care. Somebody else that cares about it can go design a program that I can go run to get the numbers I need to get really fast to go continue to do the stuff that I like to do, but I don't care about these things, and I don't remember a fucking single thing. I Wait a minute. Okay. I remember something about a general ledger, like, of debits and credits. That's it. That was really digging deep, of general ledger debits and credits. That's it. That's literally all that I remember
Right.
from 8 months of taking, statistical and managerial accounting for stuff that I didn't even give a shit about. Like, I never used it. No, don't care. Like, and what a waste of time and money. Like, I mean, I could have been doing so many other things when I was that age. Like, can you imagine if people that were in college age were like, they'd be Ryan Holiday, like I was telling you about yesterday. They'd be Ryan Holiday. Like, he was 19 and he found stuff that he liked to go do, and he did it. He wrote 3 books in 2 years or 3 years or whatever the hell it was, and like, he kept exploring these things, and you're like, man, how do you do that at such a young age? Well, I think I don't know, but they found out, like, the stuff that we're talking about now, and I don't even know if they know it, if they were beavering on accident, or if they were beavering on purpose, but like, but but damn, like, I mean, that's what happens when you unlock your values and you do it. It's just
Unintended.
like, yeah, it's just a beautiful thing, So anyway, all right, I know we're out of time. And any final thoughts for the day?
Yeah, keep your own timeline. That's important.
Agreed. I agree. Yeah. And for me, like, I only measure by the values I do every single day. Like, I mean, that is literally,
I mean,
that
it's
is
the
it.
same. I mean, you and I are saying the same thing because without your own timeline, because the thing is like your timeline is your memory. Your
Yep.
memory is what you value. You don't remember anything that you don't value.
Right.
I
That's
mean,
exactly
it's bottom
true.
line. So you're saying the exact same thing I'm saying is your timeline is yours. My timeline is mine. So, right, it's your values that creates timeline. So yes, you know, because either way, you know, when I say keep your own timeline, well, the only way to keep your own timeline is measured by your values. You put your value in there as your marker, as your tick
Right.
of your time cycles. And only then that you have your own timeline.
100%. And when you see that you don't have any of your values lived in the course of a day, then you're like, shit.
You're running
Like,
for train.
yeah, you're
You're
running for
on
trains.
somebody else's
Yeah,
hamster wheel.
right,
You're on
right.
somebody's timeline, and that
Time to
sucks.
change.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that you want to control when you do things. It's not about what you do, right? It's about when as well, because
Yeah,
when it makes you anxious. Hey, you know, why do I have to wait for the in line for the airport? Why do I have to wait um, in the airplane to get off? Somebody's delaying something, right?
right.
I mean, everybody I see is like, oh, we're delaying, yay. No, say, damn, what the hell, you know, why can't you have good service? Everybody is complaining because they're on someone else's timeline. And that's exactly why I'm saying is, you know, you are on another person's timeline, not your own.
Yep. And you're living their values, and that's not good. Yeah. So thanks for joining. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And
Happy Thanksgiving
we will see you all on Monday.
on
And
Monday. We'll get
yeah.
back to it. Yeah,
And happy
sounds good.
Thanksgiving, true. All right. We'll see you
All
soon.
right, see you, Chris.